live now. Okay, should be live now. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So this is the query research progress update of April. So our goal is still the same. So we want to hide the complexities of interacting with decentralized knowledge graphs, and we do this by building efficient read-write abstractions, mostly in the form of query algorithms. So these are still the people in our team, and the format is still the same. So 3 slides per researcher. First the high-level goal, then accomplishments of the last month, and then targets for the next month. And Brian, you can start.
Yes. So my high-level goal is to optimize decentralized querying using explicit data publication structure. So those are stuff like summaries that data provider can give to their data, or simply the structure of the data. For instance, they might organize their posts into a specific folder, their photos into another specific folder. So I'm trying to use that to optimize those the queries that are performed from the outside in the decentralized setup. So we can go to the next slide. So this month I spent a lot of time to clean up the large RDF bench to make it work with other engine and with other RDF tools, because the benchmark, there are some triples that are not real triples, and there are some RAIs that also are not valid RAIs, which make it so when you are using it with some other engine than Virtuoso, you get some warning, or sometimes you get some errors. Or if you want to use some RDF tool, like for instance Shexer, then you will get a lot of errors because the RAIs are not valid RAIs. So I spent quite some time to try, and I still haven't finished, to fix the benchmark to make it work with other tools than Virtuoso. I also work on generating shape from my benchmark, so it's a bit on the alt because I need to do other cleanup so that I can use Shexer as a tool. I've also started to write a paper for ISWC on the topic of performing large federation, federated queries by using shapes. So inspired by the work of FedUp. I've also done my camera ready for my ESWC demo paper, which is about online schema alignment in the context of link traversal. And I've also assisted a student work on shackle rules. So he's basically trying to make an implementation of shackle rule instead of Communica. And I also spent quite some time to do some visa stuff, some administration stuff, which is a bit painful, but now it's done. So this month I'm planning to finish my benchmark and finish writing my ISWC paper. And that's it for me.
So the abstract deadline is this weekend, right?
Yes.
And the deadline, the actual deadline is then next
yes
weekend.
I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I'll do my best.
But regarding the writing, you're mostly done, right?
Yeah, the writing is quite advanced. There's still some stuff that I want to add, and there's still some small stuff to fix, but I think it's on point. It's on point. It's online to be done, but it's really the experiment that, it's taking me a lot of time and effort, and I'm trying my best, but it's just difficult for me.
And it's still in the cleanup part that.
Yes, I mean there are some other parts that are done, but I cannot really test it if it really worked, because I need that data to be clean to actually launch the experiment. So yes.
No. But might still be feasible.
Yes, maybe, but
we should try.
Yes.
Okay. And do you think it would be helpful if someone would be able to help you with anything? So maybe we can ask one of the job students.
I don't think so, because it seems like those problems are Yeah, I don't think if two people were to work on it, it will necessarily make it faster, because it's also because to test it, you need to load this data and it takes a lot of time. And sometimes you just, if you array somewhere that has a weird construct or that is not a valid array in a very special way. So I'm not really sure if it would help. Also considering that I would need to, kind of teach that person or tell them what I'm doing. So I'm not really sure. I think, yeah.
Well, yeah. If there would be anything that you run into that you think, okay, maybe someone else could do it, then we can maybe ask one of the students.
And also because nowadays we have LLMs, I can also, some part of the cleanup have launch an agent to help me to do it, but it's not magic. Yeah.
No. Okay. Well, keep me posted on
Yes.
this. Any other questions for Brian? No. Okay. Then let's skip Ruben because I don't know where he is, and go to Jitse.
My high-level goal has always been optimizing write performance in decentralized personal data ecosystems. But since I'm not really touching on it, maybe my high-level goal is becoming a data management approach to RDF data integration, ? That's the next slide. What I worked on is researching some of like the more fundamental, I think, data integration literature, which goes back to like 2000, the year 2000, and even before that, like 1998 literature, such that we can ground our query rewriting tool in this research into this fundamental literature. I added a search part to the Communica website and fixed some issues in Communica and Dracula, which actually took more time than I when thinking what I did last month. This was actually quite resource intensive, I think, especially fixing the Dracula issues. Then I wasted some time on setting up a benchmark tool for the query rewriting, but yeah, as it's failed almost every time to do the processing, it's not really a lot of progression happening there. I increased the quality of the query rewriting tool itself, so that's the software accompanying the query rewriting research. And I spent some time on the ESWC preparation, so it says presentation preparation, but it's in general the camaraderie, all of this stuff for ESWC. And that's it. I did, I think. Yeah, next targets are taking some vacation, because May says that you need to take a lot of vacation, so that's nice. What? I don't know, there's like a ton of vacation days in May.
It's possible.
Like Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holidays.
Then ESWC attendance and then the presentation that I need to do there. Then we are targeting a semantics demonstration, which will be a short demonstration on the query rewriting work that we've done. Kind of to show the research community that we are working on that. And then doing the experiments on the Sparkle view. Sparkle query rewriting and setting up the benchmark again is also something that needs to be done this month. I think that's it.
Okay. Any questions? Great. Yeah.
What do you mean by data management?
I don't know. More less of an approach that takes less the semantics of RDF into account, I guess, and tries to look at it from a data engineering perspective, maybe like from a data management perspective, where it's just like, I have this data, I want to query it, and I don't really care about the ontologies and stuff. And you view the ontologies more as a useful structure to structure your data. Like you say, it's nice to have links that say RDF type, for example, because it aids the querying approach.
But I guess what I'm wondering is that maybe it's me personally, but I never really felt like I was doing a lot of RDF. I've always treated it as a database.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, in your case, what more kind of concretely does it change in what you are?
Yeah, when looking at the query writing, we saw that a lot of the research that has been done is on ontology alignment and ontology engineering, and not so much the more traditional approaches. And I also wonder why. So I think that's why it's still a question mark. I think that there's something to exploit if you don't look at RDF as like this ontology engineering.
Because I was wondering, because also Sparkle, one of the paper about Sparkle was mapping it into relational algebra.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what you're saying is that a lot of people still doesn't go back into this relational algebra route.
But I don't think necessarily you need to go to the relational algebra. I think there's stuff to do also in this if you stay in Sparkle and then try to look at it from that approach instead of saying let's just go to relational algebra and then perform the known operations there. I think it might be interesting to investigate if you stay in the Sparkle algebra what you can do.
Okay, I think I sort of understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just thinking of what you said, that you mostly consider your work also working on just normal databases, but the federated querying that you do is not possible in normal databases, right?
Yeah, it's not possible, but for me, it's still some data. It's not really like I don't care about the ontologies and the fact that you can do reasoning and things like that.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, but the identifiers, the global nature of the identifiers is still.
Yeah, that's still important. But to me, it's as if we have a normal relational database and then we have like a global identifier mapping somewhere, but it is just kind of automatically be done for you on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of how I see it, instead of seeing it as really like a knowledge graph where you can infer some new information and stuff like that, and have all those ontologies and those what is called entitlement regime and things like that, because I don't really consider that when I'm doing my work.
Well, you did it in your schema alignment, right?
Yes, but it was still, I created a new vocabulary. It was still very practical for that. I didn't look into those RDF type and those like how entailment and those RDFS entailment and stuff like that. I really just created my own practical stuff to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I see it more into just normal database and not the whole RDF stack. But that's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong to see it that way also.
Yeah.
I also mostly see it that way.
Okay.
The approach that I want to take is just, if you look at RDF as like it has these global IRIs. It has blank nodes being interpreted as anonymous IRIs, and it has the schemaless nature. Then what can we do?
Yeah.
This is kind of the question that I have. And then in the context of data integration. Yeah.
Okay. So your original PhD goal might be shifting a bit.
I mean, yeah, I hope that we can go back to the writing approach, but I think for that, yeah, some more work needs to be done on the general data integration setting.
Well, it's definitely a normal evolution. Like almost no one who starts a PhD with a certain topic ends up with that same topic.
Yeah, but I still hope that in the end of the 4 years, can look at the writing. That would be nice. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Okay, then we can go to Elias.
Sure. So I'm still focused on the same high-level goal, where we're trying to take genomic data, represent it in a interesting way, so that we can both designate and enforce privacy protections over it, and then query it. Next slide. Lots of things going on. So many things, and I probably forgot to include some of them. But I have finished mostly solid cockpit development. There's still a couple things. So I tested the hybrid querying yesterday, and it still does not work. So that's unfortunate. It just throws a 404 error when you put any sort of privacy over a document and you're not using link traversal. So yeah, I don't know. But what I'm going to do is do a little bit of a hacky solution, and my plan is just put basically an algorithm that's dumb, like a heuristic, that tries to detect whether the source that you've put in is a solid pod URL or a Sparkle endpoint, because most Sparkle endpoints.
And you say you get 404 when you.
So it's like if you designate, because how I do it right now is you designate a file in your pod that you're going to query, right? And it's usually like an RDF file. And when you put privacy protections on that file, saying that like you as the owner of it have read access and like write and all of that, and it's not public, then Communica, when it goes to query that file, cannot find it, even if you pass in context that you are the owner of it.
So you are passing the
session, the like your solid pod session, how you're supposed to do it.
Are you using the Communica Sparkle solids?
No, because you said that it should work with Communica Sparkle now. If you pass in the context your session.
Wait, but how are you doing? But maybe we should just discuss it afterwards.
Yeah, we could discuss offline. But my thing
is, you can do either pass the session object, but then you need to use Communica Sparkle Solid, or you pass the fetch function you receive from the Solid authentication library, and that should work in normal Communica.
Yeah, I passed the fetch function and it doesn't work. So I don't know. It's a bit of a mess. But it does work if you just specify Sparkle sources, or if your solid sources are public. So what my solution is going to be is if there's solid sources, then I'm just going to use either Sparkle Solid or link traversal, and I'm going to do a little testing to figure out which one. But this is for the Solid Symposium and ESWC. I'm doing a flash talk at the Solid Symposium. I still need to finish that PowerPoint today. And then ESWC is a demo paper, and it's 2026. There's an extra 0 in there. But yeah, that's far in the future. But yeah, so that was finished. Solid Cockpit is as close to done as it has been, so that's cool. It actually works really well in all of my testing, so that's also cool. Hopefully people will use it and then find bugs, and then yeah, I can get Copilot to fix bugs. But yeah, that is cool, and it's mostly done.
The next time we're at the same place, maybe show me the hybrid querying, and we can have a look at it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, right now I'm just gonna say it's mostly for just doing one or the other, and we can look at it in the future. But then I've been working very hard on my ISWC paper. There is a lot to do, but most of it is stuff that's just writing stuff. So it's not a whole lot of like, you need to generate more data, or you need to run another benchmark, or you need to make another graph even. It's more just writing things. So it's very doable. Today I will be focusing, yeah.
Do you have to run any other experiments for the comment about the queries with manual source selection? Or did you have that data already?
What do you mean manual source selection?
So you have automatic source selection, so without service clauses, and a manual source selection with service clauses.
Mhm.
And if I understood the paper correctly, you mostly did experiments with automatic source selection.
I have 4 runs that are with service.
Okay. Okay, so then, yeah, because
And-
when I read the paper, but maybe I didn't understand it correctly, the difference was not
Yeah,
made
I
clear.
need to make in the writing. So it's more apparent when you go on the website, or like the results webpage where you can play with the data, because it clearly says like service, whatever. And then I even did different. So the initial service, like the positive control, is when I use the web interfaces of the main target source. So that's like manual. And then I also did Communica based, where you give Communica the service description query. And I did that twice.
And
yeah.
also recently,
What? Yeah. I did it a couple days ago or a week ago.
and did you see?
Yeah, only 12% of the queries got results, where when I did it in March of last year, 60-something% got results.
Okay, so we see the same kind of degradation.
Yep, same pattern. And then, yeah, and then you see a decline of the automatic source selection as well.
Yeah, okay.
So
makes sense.
It does support our claim, which is nice. But yeah, no, I have all the data that I need. It's more just doing the word writing. And then I'm gonna develop the website a little bit more so that I have custom URLs that I can put in the paper. I think that's the best solution, which loads the actual all the options, because it's very the web page for the data. There's a lot of options and lots of views and stuff. So I'm gonna make it so that there's a custom URL for a specific view. And then I'm going to put that custom URL in the paper so that if they want to look at the exact view that I'm talking about, it'll just take it right there.
Yeah, but just make sure that as a reader, you don't have to open the website, that you can still see the figures in the paper.
Okay.
Like if someone prints the paper and reads it on the airplane, for example, that they can still understand everything.
Yeah, I think I'm going to present some of the data in the paper, but there's just too much stuff and not enough space to include a bunch of figures.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I think I'll include the numbers and some specific data points, but for a better understanding and the actual graphical stuff, I'm going to point them to the website.
Yeah, but do add maybe some figures.
I think I'm going to add 1, because right now it's 20-something pages.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe the 1 is sufficient. Yeah.
Yeah. But that I still have some work to do there, but mainly it's writing. So very doable. And once the solid symposium is done, then I can only focus on that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this FlatView FS thing. I talked to Yervin about it, but we're still gonna figure out what we want to do with it when we're both less busy. Endpoint limit characterization. I wrote a vocabulary, call it VORD. The vocabulary of restrictive data sets. Yeah, so it's a vocabulary. It exists. It does a pretty good job. It even has Cockpit, Copilot even wrote me some checks and shackle rules for it, and there's tests in the repo, so that's cool. We were gonna try to apply it to a couple of the endpoints that Daniil has access to and see what it looks like. He wants to still do ISWC for this paper as a research paper. I said, go ahead, but it's going to be mostly you. And yeah, he said, we'll see, I guess. But yeah.
It's feasible, but
yeah, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a lot because we have to generate all the data. So I don't know.
Can you send me the vocabulary?
Yes, I was gonna send an email to him as well. But yeah, and then and it's mostly just designed to go in the service description. But in the future, I would like to extend it to include in the HTTP response body some information. Because Jurgen said that would be nice as well. But I need to do a bit more reading to see how I want to do that. And then
that the service description is also in the response body. So how would it be different? You mean not RDF based, or?
Well, is the entire service description usually in the response body?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was more like on an error. Then it doesn't send the service description, right?
It doesn't, but there's no reason why it couldn't, because error responses can also have a body, and you could also include it there.
Okay.
So if you make like a small spec and just explain, this should be included in both the 200 responses and also in the error responses, then good work, I think.
Okay. That might be a good, a simple solution then. But yeah, so just think about that. And I'll send that email after this meeting. And then use case demo, I haven't really thought about it or done anything with it, but once I'm done with ISWC madness, then I will start thinking about that. And the next slide is basically just all of the same things. Oh, and then eventually I would like to get, so the plan with the VCF RDF visor is in mid-May, I will hear back from my submission to the European Computational Biology Conference. Fingers crossed, that would be awesome if it gets accepted. But if it doesn't, then there are some changes that I would like, well, even if it does get accepted, there are some changes that I would like to make to the tool, not using I'm blanking, the compression mechanism that we do now.
PKT?
No, the RDF dictionary triples. HDT, there we go. The header dictionary triple form of compression. And there are a couple other ones that I found in a very cursory literature search that I want to try out instead, that are more mutable once you do the compression, because that's what I want. So I want to look at that, but I just don't have time right now. So hopefully in the future I can. Yeah, and then submit the stuff that I've been working on. That's pretty much it.
Okay, great. Any questions for Elias?
Yes. The rate limit characterization, I guess what I was curious about is, I feel like it's a common problem or a problem that is uncountering to other fields. So I was wondering if, is it really uncountering to other fields, and what make it very particular in the case of federated queries or in the case of RDF?
What do you mean? Like it isn't a common problem?
For that field, I don't know. It seems to me that hitting rate limits when you're doing stuff on the web, as it might be a problem that is encountered with multiple applications. So I was wondering how those applications resolve it, and if there is something special with RDF. But maybe it's not a common problem. Maybe it's just an RDF thing.
It's,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
we're thinking bigger than just rate limits. We're thinking about all of the limits. So concurrent query limits, result size limits, yeah, the actual rate limits, how many requests you can make, timeout limits, things like that. So we just want to be able to characterize all of those things because there's no, at least for Sparkle endpoints, I don't know about other web accessible databases, but for Sparkle endpoints, usually it's not like communicated what these limits are. So as, yeah.
Yeah, there are three things that do exist but don't really fit our needs. So there's the HTTP 429 rate limit exceeded response, which helps, but only gives information after the rate limit has already been exceeded. So it gives you some information, but it's not useful for initial query planning. Then there's the robots.txt, which crawlers use. But the problem is, well, the thing that you can do in that is you can define like things like you can crawl here and there, but not there, things like that. And you can also define the rate at which a crawler can do things. So we could use that, but the problem is that the crawling rate is always defined in the order of seconds. So the lowest value you can set is 1 second. So that's 1 request per second that you can do. For querying, that's a bit too low. And then there's also this extension from Cloudflare on robots.txt that adds some more stuff for AI crawlers, which might help a bit, but still doesn't meet all of our requirements yet. So we really do need something specific for the reasons that Elias has mentioned.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, just that I remember, and this is something that I feel is a bit common with research in knowledge graph, is that there is this paper when we study PhD here that we have to read about how to do good research in this field, and they were talking a lot about how some researcher doesn't look into other field and just kind of convert something that exists into RDF. So I was just wondering if we could, I mean, it's not means in the way, start from those already existing stuff and the extension, or to make sure that it doesn't exist in some way, to not just create this custom stuff for RDF, whereas it could be reused for other fields or it partially exists in other fields. But it was just my general vibe idea.
Oh yeah, if it would exist, then that would make our lives easier. But
or if it could be an extension, maybe about that .txt instead of starting kind of from scratch, or a conversion of robot.txt into RDF, and I don't know.
Yeah, the problem, at least the way that Yervin described it to me, the maintainer of Uniprot, he said that even though robots.txt is supposed to be followed by crawlers, it is very commonly not followed. And so therefore they need to impose limits as though these suggestions are not going to be followed. And that makes it harder for real users to actually use the resource as well. So this is more designed for real users to have some sort of description of how they should do things better if they run into problems, as well as for machines like query planning to do the changes or do things to optimize performance with like the restrictions, so that it basically just knows the various limitations. So it's, yeah, I don't know, it would make sense to do something like in robots.txt, but then if that's your only solution, then it's just going to be disregarded as well. So yeah, it's like a practice versus theory kind of problem.
I see what you mean. I just was wondering if starting from a new base was a good idea, or if it should start from an already existing base and then do it.
Well, the Sparkle service description is a base to start from, right? Okay. Because that's where Sparkle endpoints already announce a lot of information. So it's makes sense, in my opinion, to include it there.
Yeah, I think it make a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know this work. I was just talking.
No, that's fair. And the other thing is that in the literature and searching, I haven't come across a lot of non-Sparkle databases that are public and available in the way that like Uniprot is for the size and scale. Yeah.
Exactly because of the problem of Unicode that people don't usually do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so but then you find yourself in a, well, there aren't really solutions that we can reuse because this isn't a problem that people run into. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm working on it. It's still a work in progress. We'll see.
Okay, very good. I think we had everyone then. I just added one slide here because ESWC is coming up in a few weeks. So these are all of the things that we will present, or at least the query people will present there. So I think that's on the first day. We have Ruben E, who will do a presentation on hybrid link traversal. And then we have 4, I think, all demos, right? Or does anyone have a poster? No, it's all demos, right? 4 demos at the poster and demo session, which
There are 2, no?
yeah, I also heard this morning that there are 2 sessions. Yeah. I don't know at what session every person will present that. We'll see. And then on the very last day, we have Jitse's resource paper on Trackable. So yeah, that's our presence there. So next progress update should be May 26th, again at 9:30. And that's all for today, unless there are any final.
Don't we forget someone? You didn't present it, right?
No, I had nothing to share this month.
Okay.
Well, this was my slide.
You are proud to announce that you read all of those things.
Yeah. I also wrote one of them, like this one I wrote. All right. That's all for today then. So next time we have this meeting is May 26th. All right. Thanks all for joining. See you next time, Elias.